together because it holds it so you can line the other side up. If you don't do it, it's hard to imagine filling this little holes in with epoxy and starting over again. It's not an easy job. We've got a nice clean fit. Turn over, do the same thing on the other side, and then of course take the screws out and finish drilling. Actually, you don't have to. You can drill them and knock them back in. You only have to dismantle the thing. But we'll do this, and then we'll fit the cowl former to it. We took this F1 off, or we put it on earlier when we built it, the fuselage, and used it for a template or a jig to set up the sides. So we've taken it off here, put front on it. The screws always go towards the front of the cowling, of course. The wax paper stayed on, just leave it on there. It'll help us when we do this next step. We'll take this cowling where the former goes and rough it up all the way around. You know, looking at this F1, all these holes in here, reminds me to tell you that when you assemble this model all the way and you get ready to cover it, be sure to monocoat over these holes. Keep air from getting back into the fuselage through the air ducting on the front of the cowling. That's not a good thing to do, is have that air get in there. Okay, now this is cut on a router, and it doesn't look like it fits. But these are exact fit pieces. I've mixed up a little bit of laminate layup epoxy with the Cabasol filler in it. What I'm going to do is wipe a little on there, like we did before with the 5-minute epoxy. Mix it with that dust. You just need enough to hold it real good, because when we get this set in there overnight and let it dry, we're going to go ahead and take fiberglass webbing and web it in. Make it secure. All we're doing now is just putting a real good tack on it. We want it to stay. We don't want to fracture it in handling it before we get our webbing done, but we want to make sure that it's on there good. And you do not glue the top of it, ever. So I got carried away a little bit with the epoxy. Do that, just wipe it off good and sand it again. That'll finish getting it out of there. Make sure the rest of it's good. Okay. Do the same on the former. Doesn't take much. Again, you don't want to do the top of it. I almost made a mistake there on TV. That's easily fixed, easily adjusted. just up to the dimples. All the higher you go, these little indentations where the ledges are for your bolts that you installed, your hold-ons. Okay. Now, we'll lay this on a bench. Put the bolts up. I just leave the bolts in, that way I can easily identify which way's up. Sometimes you can't find out which way's up. Okay, fit the top. Slide it around. This epoxy acts as a little bit of slippery for you. I'll just turn it over, take a look at it, see if it fits, which it fits. Now, take some tape, our wonderful tape. What I'm doing is pulling it nice and tight around that. The more of an angle you make, the more area you contact. Go around it. The reason we had to do this before we put our hatch on is because we need a measurement off of this for our hatch. So we know what height to sand this former down on the front. You get the idea what I'm doing here. I'm just spreading that tape out where it will make that glue, that epoxy, really stick in there. It'll shape it right. Push on it, you see glue coming out, you need tape. Okay. Alright, now we're going to put this back on. Now we made a tool that you can make one too. It's really easy. You just take one of these 3/16 or 8 or whatever size that driver is. You just put it in a piece of arrow shaft with a piece of wood. Works real good. We want to put it back on here because we're going to have to make sure it fits. These little deals like this will make this airplane look a lot better. Just in using these techniques that are